Thank you. Good morning. Buenos dias. My pleasure to be here this morning, and I appreciate all of your attendance, especially being the first speaker. It's great to see a room full of people. I appreciate that. My talk today, it's a little off the path of most of the talks at this conference, so I'm hoping that you'll enjoy it. It will provoke some thought and, maybe some good cocktail hour conversation. So what I'm talking about today is trends in coffee. Our company is called Applied Food Sciences. We are a health and wellness company. We came actually out of a cancer research organization. The company started doing cancer drug discovery. And when we were doing that type of work with a number of research organizations around the world, we were looking at a lot of compounds that were coming from plant material. So the basis of that company was looking for drugs that were not chemo drugs, that were drugs that came from natural origin, that were more gentle on the system, hopefully killing cancer cells, but not wreaking havoc on the body. So that was kind of where we came from. The company morphed into a food technology company, and we used a lot of the things that we learned from the cancer drug discovery area to look at things that would help generally health and wellness. The main part of our company is an ingredient business. So we sell ingredients to beverage companies, food companies, and dietary supplement companies to make in either pill or other forms for supplementation. We also have a couple of consumer brands. One is a coffee product, and we do have some crossover in the coffee industry, and I'll talk about that product a little bit later. But basically, we're a B2B company. We work with companies in the food and beverage industry and do formulations as well as help with finished products. So what I want to talk about today is really the top trends that we're seeing in the food and beverage industry, and then talk about some case studies that we have direct connection with. So when you look at the trends, what we're seeing in general is this big push towards health and wellness, and mostly about consumers wanting to prevent diseases as opposed to just going to the doctor and getting treatment. So this whole big push on prevention has been happening for quite a while. With that comes this awareness of antioxidants. Antioxidants are pretty much all over the place. When we introduced our first coffee product, it was based on antioxidants, and that was about 8 years ago. And consumers were, they kind of knew what an antioxidant was, but not really. And it was just kind of coming into, it was just starting to, the awareness was coming. Now it's trending. I mean, you see antioxidants everywhere. Palm Wonderful and acai and all of these different beverages and foods, fortified cereals, etc. The other trend is that incidence of disease is unfortunately not diminishing, but there's a lot of awareness that weight management is a key factor in managing and helping to prevent disease. So we're seeing a lot more weight management products that are coming onto the market, and in different forms. It's not a pill for weight loss. It's more, gradual food and beverage types of products. We also are looking at this trend that's really starting to grow, which is great for the coffee industry, which is a healthy energy trend. So energy was, 5-hour energy shots and Red Bull and things like that. And now we're seeing customers really asking for more like healthy, natural energy that's not just going to blast them, for 5 hours, but that's really going to be a sustainable and a healthier option for maintaining energy. So coffee, I talked about antioxidants, I talked about energy. Coffee has naturally these antioxidants that we call polyphenols. And if you look at the U.S. market for functional food and beverages, it's about a $20 billion market globally. The last numbers that I have are about $175 billion globally. And the beverage category is actually leading that growth, increasing at like 10% per year. So consumer awareness, when you talk about just the awareness of, health and wellness, you can see that the number one thing that consumers are aware of is this antioxidant category. And once again, good for coffee because coffee does have antioxidants. When you talk about antioxidants, 68% of consumers get it, 60% buy it, and 68% want more of it. They're looking for it in other offerings besides just a vitamin C tablet, for example. So back to coffee. The antioxidants in coffee average between 6 and 8%. Robusta coffee actually grows with more natural antioxidant value than the Arabicas. They're water soluble. They've got a lot of health benefits. They're absorbed into the body really quickly. The hierarchy of antioxidants, the antioxidants found in coffee, absorb into the body like at a much faster rate, and your body prioritizes them faster, which is why they're an excellent source of antioxidants. And one of the most important things is that more and more we're learning about this amazing coffee plant. There's lots and lots of science being done out there. We've been doing science on coffee for the past 12 years and continuing to learn more and more about this amazing plant. So these polyphenols that you find in coffee, basically what they do is they quench free radicals. Free radicals run around your body and they wreak havoc. They cause cell damage, DNA damage, etc. Big thing that they do is oxidative stress. And so what polyphenols in coffee do is they help prevent this oxidative stress. Oxidative stress really drives this cell damage and heart disease and cancer, aging, etc. So if we can curb oxidative stress any way that we can, especially in our diets, that's a really good thing. So coffee definitely has this ability. We see that the polyphenols in coffee can neutralize the free radicals, which obviously reduces risk of disease. One of the big things that they do is they help decrease this LDL oxidation, and that's what causes the restriction in the blood vessels. So vasodilation is when your blood vessels are expanded and blood flow can go through them very efficiently, obviously helping your heart deliver that blood to all the places it needs to go. Vasodilation is when your arteries get clogged, so plaque builds up. This is where this oxidation of LDL comes in. So you get this oxidation of LDL and it builds up this fatty lining in your blood vessels. And that's what causes the vasoconstriction, and that obviously is what leads to hardening of the arteries and, sort of pushing towards eventual heart attack or stroke. So what coffee antioxidants do, again, is they aid in the cardiovascular disease reduction, and they do this by these antioxidants essentially donating an electron to an unstable free radical, which prevents the LDL from clogging up and making a home and a fatty layer in the arteries. So it's very important. The first case study I wanted to talk about was this healthy roast technology, which is a roasting process that we patented about 10 years ago. And we understood that there were all these amazing antioxidants present in the coffee plant. And we tried to figure out why, if that's the case, why doesn't anybody ever talk about coffee being healthy? And the reason is when you roast coffee at 500 degrees Fahrenheit, you pretty much kill off all of these antioxidants. So what we decided to do is try and find a way to roast this coffee and keep all the antioxidants in the beans. So when you look at the degree of roasting, the longer that you roast coffee, so dark roast, is the more antioxidants you destroy. So if you look at a cup of coffee, this is just the polyphenols, the all total antioxidants. If you look at the regular, just sort of retail brands, you see, an average of, what is that, 200 something milligrams of polyphenols per antioxidants per serving. If you look at a coffee that's roasted the way that we roast it to keep all the antioxidants in there, you're basically looking at quite a big lift. The main antioxidant that we look at is called chlorogenic acid, and that we know from research studies that we've done and that other researchers have done all over the globe, that chlorogenic acid is a key antioxidant to provide the effects that I mentioned before. So this is just an example of a study that we did looking at retail samples and then looking at healthy roasted coffee, which is are the three at the bottom, to show a major lift in milligrams per serving of this chlorogenic acid, which is really the one that you're wanting in your body for antioxidant benefit. And just to quickly talk about the way that we roast this coffee, essentially the green beans have these amazing antioxidants. You roast them and you pretty much destroy most of them. So what we do is we take those unroasted green beans and we gently soak them in water. The antioxidants come out. Then we roast those beans at the high temperatures and then quench the beans out of the roaster with that same water, and the antioxidants go right back in. So it's pretty much just a way to roast coffee. You can use any coffee, any roast type, dark roast, breakfast, whatever, espresso roast. It doesn't matter. It's just the way that we roast it. So it's a way to just have a healthier cup of coffee without having any additives or change. It's just 100% coffee. So this lipoprotein that I talked about, the oxidation, the brown bar on the left is a healthy roasted coffee, and this just demonstrates the difference with this lipoprotein protection, against like green tea and other compounds. To do a quick, just indicator, we looked at just blood pressure. So when I talk about this clogging of the arteries, blood pressure is a good indicator, and so you can see the difference with healthy roasted coffee versus not. And again, the systolic and diastolic. So we see a great reduction in blood pressure, which is good. There's a lot of science on coffee in general out there, which is really great for the industry. We're seeing more and more cohort studies about people drinking X number of cups of coffee and seeing reduction in a lot of diseases. This is one about hypertension from WebMD. USA Today talked about coffee perks for longer living. 6 cups per day had an impact on that. Men's Health reported better stamina when you work out if you have coffee. That a lot is due to the caffeine. However, there is oxidative damage that can be prevented that will really help workouts and recovery from workouts. So that's a great thing. Dr. Oz presented a Harvard cohort study that talked about reducing disease in general. 6 or more cups a day, they saw impact on a number of diseases. And when Dr. Oz speaks, at least in the US, it's pretty significant. He's got a great following. The other thing that's trending is, as I mentioned before, disease is rising in general, unfortunately, and a lot of disease is related to weight management. So when we look at weight management, what we're seeing trending in the food and beverage industry is this whole thing about glycemic control, glycemic index diets, and low glycemic foods, mostly sort of stemming from this push from the diabetic community, but we're seeing it in just sort of weight loss in general and just general health and wellness for looking at glycemic index diets. So the benefits of managing glycemic index are many. You can, obviously managing weight is one of them. Sensitivity to insulin, obviously the diabetic problem. But it does improve the mitigating the heart disease risk and cholesterol levels, and then hunger and weight loss is really what we're seeing consumers really sort of jumping on these days. So if you look at the insulin, controlling insulin controls glucose metabolism. That basically insulin, if you can control that, you can dictate where glucose goes. So it's either stored in the liver as glycogen, or it feeds the muscles for energy, or ultimately it goes to fat cells to be stored. And that's kind of, the place you don't want it. So again, this slide just goes quickly through weight management and how that really affects a number of pathways in the body, and why it relates so critically to diseases like heart disease and cancer and diabetes. So I won't go through this, but just a quick study on the coffee's association with diabetes, and this has been studied quite extensively. A number of cohort studies out of Europe with like 30,000 subjects that really show a strong correlation between diabetes and coffee. And in this study, which is actually one of the more significant ones, you can see a 67% reduction in diabetes with people that drank at least 12 cups of coffee. So that's significant. Problem is, it's 12 cups of coffee, that's a lot of caffeine. So, so the other case study that I wanted to show you is one of the things we did was we said, okay, so if you don't want to drink 12 cups of coffee and get some of these benefits, how can we capitalize on that goodness in coffee and make it easier for somebody to take without having to drink that many cups of coffee? So what we did was we came up with a green coffee bean extract. And we see a demand for natural plant-based products. We know that there's healthy antioxidants in coffee, so we essentially just extracted and concentrated them. And basically, this slide is just talking about the reduction in blood glucose as a dose response. So the more of this green coffee, this chlorogenic acid antioxidant that you take, the more we can demonstrate a reduction in blood glucose, and obviously significant for weight loss, significant for diabetes management, significant for just general health and wellness if you can manage your metabolism. We took it a step further and looked at weight loss, and we found that we saw a 10% reduction, over 10% reduction in weight. So after 30 days, the average weight loss was 8 kilograms or 17 pounds. And that was taking 2 tablets of this green coffee extract a day. So it's pretty significant. So summarizing that data, coffee consumption has a lot of health benefits. If you can drink 6 cups a day or more, you get many of the benefits that I've talked about. And caffeine, unfortunately, is sort of the main culprit for the hypertensive effects. If you can tolerate that, that's great, but a lot of people can't tolerate, 6 or more cups of coffee per day. But reminder that caffeine is also good for you as well. I mean, mental alertness and endurance and metabolism, energy, etc. So we don't really want to lose that. But like I said before, what's trending is this whole healthy energy solution. We're seeing energy drinks, we're seeing coffee. We're basically in the center store category growth, they're still rising. So it's definitely something that is not going away. However, there's a push for this thing called healthy energy or natural energy. And if you look at, if you could preserve the antioxidants in coffee and obviously the caffeine, you get this healthy energy push. And we're seeing a lot of interest. Starbucks did a great example of that. They powered this energy drink refresher with green coffee bean extract, and that's a really good example of this whole natural healthy energy. The energy market's huge. We see a lot of the green coffee extract going into supplements for energy, as well as Dr. Oz in the U.S. did a huge show on weight loss, green coffee bean and weight loss, and I mean the category just blew up. I mean everybody was looking for green coffee bean extract. Problem that happened with that is you would find these sort of pop-up companies that came from everywhere and anywhere that said, I have green coffee bean, I have green coffee bean extract, and a lot of it was not qualified, wasn't studied, and a lot of counterfeiting was going on out there. And unfortunately, that's what happens when somebody like the Dr. Asha, publishes green coffee bean extract as like the magic pill for weight loss. You get a lot of suspect products. And so, like for my company, we spend a lot of energy and, unfortunately, dollars trying to keep that category clean. One last thing to just mention, stomach-friendly coffee. There's 40 million people in the U.S. that don't drink coffee due to stomach irritation. So if there was a way to get rid of some of those irritating compounds, that would be a great thing. The way this healthy roast process that I mentioned actually, unbeknownst to us initially, does that. So we were issued another patent this year specifically related to stomach friendly, and we're just trying to get that message out there. And finally, the last trend is this whole cosmetic this category. People are looking for plant-based topicals. Green coffee extract or compounds in coffee extract, even roasted coffee is being used in cosmetics. Natural, plant, they like it. The whole sun damage is really the big thing, and we looked at a green coffee extract in a topical and looked at wrinkles, UV damage, et cetera, and saw a nice effect. So another category that coffee really can play a role in, and I think there's a lot more work that can be done with that. This is just a busy machine result, and I'm telling you, if you ever have your face, pictured with that machine, that dermatologist or whatever can tell you, any product, and you'll say, yes, I'll buy that product, because when you see your face look like that, you're like, I don't care how much it costs, just give it to me. So, but that's amazing. I mean, that woman is, I think, 32 years old, and you can see how much sun damage is, already there, and obviously we're just, we're out in it. And, but after 4 weeks with a coffee bean topical, we definitely saw some significant change. These are just quick examples of some skin products that do use coffee. And so basically, yeah, the coffee is an amazing category. There's the plant has so much. There's so much science that still needs to be learned on the plant. I mean, we haven't even talked about the leaves and the cherries, and there's a lot there. So besides making a great cup of coffee, and